Jack, it's been a year in the making, but it's finally here.
We've finally done it, Joey. We've recorded our
can't
first
believe
episode
it.
of the podcast.
Did we forget to record the intro?
We almost certainly did.
Fantastic. This is the Hardly Logical podcast, and things are about to get messy.
Enjoy. Why are you laughing?
Why the word messy?
Things are about to get messy.
Oh, right, okay. Fantastic. There you go.
There you go.
I want to confront a lot of you about something.
Right, listen.
Oh, what have you done?
I wanna question your belief in ghosts because I have asked every single fucking one of you if you believe in ghosts, and the majority of the time you will say no. And then I ask you if you want to do a damn Ouija board with me, and you all say no.
Also,
I'm
So
sorry.
if you believe
When
in them,
did you?
don't.
When have you ever asked about doing a Ouija
I've asked.
board?
Maybe I've
never
asked
heard.
you,
He
Harry.
has
and
asked.
You don't turn up that much.
What's curious as well is a lot of us have said we don't believe in ghosts, but we've had some sort of, I don't know, feeling or experience. Like Nathan said he didn't believe in ghosts, and then he was like, but I did go downstairs to see the spooky ghost figure in my kitchen.
Exactly.
But I don't believe in ghosts.
So, how I perceive this to be, and how I've had people describe it to me when I've talked to them about this, is I say I don't believe in ghosts. However, it's not a fact I don't believe. I don't want to believe ghosts, because purely the fact of, don't laugh. I am scared of the idea that they could be real.
I can see that.
So I say to myself, I don't want to believe they're real. To
Is it like-
basically make me feel more comfortable that they're not real.
Is it the demon aspect, or is it just like ghosts in general? Are you scared that you might like?
It's more like the. Again, I know this is a Hollywood stretch from the normal, but like the paranormal activity sort of route and those sort of ghosts, the haunting ones and the specters and the
What about Casper?
popping up in the mirrors and stuff.
So you're like
The little ones where they move stuff isn't it like that. That is fine with me. It's the ones that go out of their way to sort of
So-
haunt and terrorize.
right now you don't really believe, but you're like, if I did a Ouija board and I found out they were real, then I'd be fucking scared. So I might as well not take the
Yes.
risk. I can
I
see
mean,
that.
I said I'd do a Ouija board because why not?
Can I tell you a story
Sure.
about
Yes.
maybe not ghosts, just something supernatural? Okay.
All right, similar
So-
to
Like
like, so.
ghosts.
Well, basically, for those who don't know, I have a Cooper Day where all my family, like extra family, turn up and we all get together, and we do things like it's like a normal family day. You play games like cricket, rounders, and stuff like that. And this is going back about 5 years, and I was just it was during a cricket game, and I was out in field, like really far away from where they were batting. I was just sat down on the grass. I think I must have been quite young, so I was just like
Really
picking at the
pulling your
grass.
weight.
You know when you're just like, I know. When you're really young, you just like pull grass out the ground and you just start sprinkling it on stuff.
I thought you were going to say eating it.
No, I don't eat grass. But I was just sat there, and then is it a dandelion that you blow when you make a wish?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
What did you wish for?
I picked it up and I said, I wish I could catch the next ball to go out. Literally, this sounds really sad, but I was sat down. I was not moving at all. I was so far away. The chances of the ball, A, being at the right angle to go to me, and also B, the length to just where I'm sitting. I was sat down. The ball comes over. I reach out. Still sat down. I could just catch it with one hand. And
Is
I
this
stand
like-
up and I start running around screaming. So I was like, I've just pulled off the most amazing catch of my life. And ever since then, I'm like, is there actually something looking over me? Like, is that real?
Well, like
And
God.
the way I explain it to myself is like, it's actually like the odds of that happening are so high. But it's just something that it was just really lucky to happen. That's what I tell myself.
So, go on, Nick, go on,
I was
Nick.
gonna say I hate to be devil's advocate, but is the odds that low of it happening, considering they were playing cricket right next to you?
No, I was sat. When I say far away, I mean like, like
But you were within
30 meters.
playing range,
40
right?
meters.
Your dad steps up to bat and he's like, look,
It's
Harry's
like,
over there
you know-
bored.
You know,
I'll hit
no,
the ball to
it
him.
wasn't my dad. It wasn't my dad. It was it was my tryhard cousin who like slogs it. You know when
It's-
someone really good comes out in cricket and everyone like moves backwards.
It sounds like he wanted to hit you, bud.
No,
I don't
no
want to be
way,
that guy.
No way. No
It
one.
sounds like he was aiming for you.
He's like, Harry's the
but-
weakling. He's sat on the floor.
And also, the odds were very high because what are the chances of it going that far and at my angle, also happening straight after I blew and made that wish.
Well, let's put the pieces together. Your try-hard cousin steps up and he's like, "Where am I going to hit it? I'm a try-hard cousin. I want to win."
No,
And he's like,
he'd
"Harry,
been
sat on
in-
the floor 30 meters away. I'll just aim it over there.
No,
There's no way
was
he's
in-
going to get it."
He'd been in bat for at least 10, 15 minutes.
And never
So-
comes.
And it,
Harry,
And then
okay.
it happened.
Since then,
I just can't believe that this is the only story you have
Harry, since
where
then,
like
Sorry, I
something-
don't go downstairs and just. I don't have random men crouching down in the corner of my.
But what I'm saying is, you think there's something looking over you, but that's the only example you have of something looking over you.
There's probably
My
another one
dude,
down
you
the
got
line if I can
mugged.
remember it.
but like since then,
yeah, I
Harry,
did.
have you ever had a time where you're like, I don't know, if you're feeling really down, or you're like, if this happens right now, I'll believe in God. You know, those times where you're like, or if something happens right now, then I'll believe, or like, show me a sign and I'll go and die. You know, it's like random like that. Ever since that time.
I don't think like that though. I wouldn't think to myself, if this happens, I'll die.
Not that you'll die, but like, you'd be like, I don't know, if you're really needing something and you're like, if this shows up right now, then I'll believe in God. Like, show me a sign. You ever had a moment like
Oh.
that and it just hasn't happened ever since then?
Okay, so personally, it hasn't happened to me, but I know it's happened to my mum when after my nan passed away, she was trying to search for my brother's something to do. It was like my brother's memory card, not memory card, like USB, because it had all his uni work on it.
Yeah.
They were searching for like half an hour, and then my mum said to herself, "Please, like Nan, if you're up there, just please let me find it." And then she found it in the next like 20 seconds.
Yeah, but dude, like that's the thing is with all this believing and supernatural stuff. Like the only people like taking people's word for it and stories is just so unreliable because the kind of people that have those stories are the kind of people who really, really want to believe in that thing. Like my mum has so many of those stories, but just because she really wants there to be a god, you know what I mean? Like she really wants, and like the people who have these spooky ghost stories, excluding like you, Nathan, because I think like 50% of it is people who want to believe in it, and then 50% of it are like people who think they saw like a trick of the light, something like that happening. Like, you know, you just woke up, you're groggy or whatever. And I just did, I had it, for example, I was training a guy the other day in work, and it was just like this 19-year-old dude from like Basildon. And like the whole time we were talking, he was like, "Oh, do you believe in ghosts?" And I was like, no, not me personally, but like, you know, I don't think that they don't exist just to put you down. I mean, if you think they exist, I'm willing to listen to you." And he just went on and on about like 40 things. Like he kept just naming things. He was like, "Oh yeah, well I was in my girlfriend's mum's house and she said it was haunted. So at night time I would just listen, and you'd hear the screaming, this blood curdling screaming coming from the bathroom." And I was like, "No, you didn't. Like, if you heard that, no way would you stay in the house.
No.
Like, if you heard that." And he was like, "Yeah, and I heard like for next week I just heard sprinting outside my house, outside the room, and it would just stop at the door." I'm like, "No, it didn't. Like, why are people chatting shit so much? It's just because they want there to be something more, and they want to believe so hard that they will literally."
It's like placeboing. They
Yeah,
think they hear it, but they don't.
Also, that's
It's like
very
not
much
actually
like
there.
the phrase Bobby said, like the Hollywoodifying of it. That sounds like something you would see in like a Paranormal Activity film 50 minutes in.
Exactly.
You know, like a realistic one, you might be like, hear like a couple footsteps or like something, or you might hear like a weird like creak that might sound like a tiny bit like a scream. But if you heard like an actual person scream,
Yeah.
you'd
And
be
he was like,
out
"Oh
of
yeah." And I was in the attic putting things up there, and I looked up and I saw a face, and I blinked and it was gone. And I was like, "Okay."
There's actually,
just-
but there's science about that, Josh. Like not like that it's fucking like supernatural, but like there's actually like a mental reason of your face tries to find, like your mind
Yeah.
tries to find faces in like situations.
I
Yeah.
have this thing that's kind of similar, but like I've never experienced it. But like I've got this like there's a small little like corridor, like hallway. It's like a small little one that I can see in this. I've got like a banister that goes upstairs, and the bit where the banister meets the ceiling, you know what I mean? That sort of like
Yeah.
crooked corner. If
Yeah.
I'm like I can sort of like see to that, and I keep thinking to myself, if it's late at night or if I've watched a horror film, I might be sad, I might be looking at it, and I'll just be like, what if a creepy fucking hand comes around and just sort of grabs the banister in that sort of like horrifying way, sort of like a bony hand? I just look at it. I'm like, if I just keep thinking about it and looking at it,
You will see it,
eventually I'm
but
just
that
gonna
happens.
see it. Just like I'm just gonna force myself to see it. And I feel like that might be kind of what I mean. Like if you go out searching and you're like,
Yeah.
everything, you're like, oh, if a car crosses this road, or if no cars, or if there's no traffic lights, when I get to this, God, I'll believe in you, or something like that. If you just keep saying it over and over again, eventually something's gonna happen that you'll be like, oh shit, it's real.
Yeah, it's like when you're younger. I don't know about you, but like if I was like brushing my teeth or something, and then I go down like I spit. Part of me sort of thinks if I look up in this mirror in front of me, there's gonna be
Yeah.
something behind me.
Yeah, true.
Like,
I
it's
still
like-
think that.
It's
Yeah.
in the shower, doesn't it? Like, something like it's just a human.
Ooh,
things like
Josh,
Spike.
you're sounding funky, buddy.
Fucking
Buddy.
gateway planned by ghosts.
Oh my god. We questioned them and they arrived.
The demons have possessed his
That was
microphone.
so weird.
Just so you know, Josh, your voice sounded like double. Like it sounded like as soon as you said something, it would repeat it straight up, like it was
Is
like
it better now?
doubled.
No,
You have to
it's
say a
still
full
there.
sentence.
Mm, give me a second.
It's definitely
Give it a second.
To play like the opposite side.
Okay.
Hold on, sorry, is that better?
No,
Basically,
it's just louder.
if you say like Hollywood have like exaggerated it to make it scary, but what if you say like their inspiration must have come from somewhere, right?
Yeah, but like some of them, I think one of them, I forget which one it was, but it said at the beginning like based off a true story, and he
Yeah.
like this person in the house finds like this tape recording of like a family that's died. I think I might not be remembering this being the exact film that says like based off a true story, but then they go through all these extreme events that there's no way they could have been real. Like as like if you think logically, how many times have you ever heard of someone actually being hurt by a supernatural force? Like most of the time it's like you've seen maybe like Joey said, you look up and you're like, what if there's a face behind me? You look up and it's all dark and you might like see some sort of shadow and you're like, oh, what's that? That looks like a bit like a face. You blink and you're like, oh no, it's just like the way the light's sitting. That's like 90% of the time it is. It's just like your mind playing tricks on you. There's like when you get to the point where it's like, you know, actual things are happening, you're hearing people scream in your house and stuff. At what point do you like someone's just fucking messing with you?
Sorry, to interrupt. Is that better?
No,
No,
buddy.
you're
It's
still bad.
amazing. Maybe you should apologize to the ghosts and see if that works.
Sorry, guys, I believe in you.
Wait, now
If it
speak.
started working.
Now speak.
Hello?
Oh
Oh my
my god.
It's better.
Is that actually better? Or do you
No,
It's
no,
definitely
no.
not.
Josh starts freaking out.
The
Oh
thing
my
that I
word.
always think about though is that like 100 years, people
100 years.
would never have
Are your wires plugged?
would never have even comprehended things that would like happen today, right? 100 years
Hmm.
ago, people wouldn't have even comprehended the internet. It
Mm.
wouldn't even be like a comprehensible thought. So what if in like 1,000 years' time, we've actually discovered like spirits and paranormal stuff, and it's just like common knowledge, but
I
you
mean-
don't know what's out there because it's just not been discovered yet.
I guess, but I feel like
It's-
that's an argument you can't come back from. You're like, hey,
That's
we
a-
just don't know. You're like,
That's
well,
an interesting topic though,
That's-
because we're talking about things being like uncomprehendable for people back then. But like what like obviously difficult question, I know, but do you think there's certain things nowadays other than like ghosts or things like that that could be uncomprehendable for us? Like surely we kind of know the trajectory we're on at this point, no?
But do we?
Mm,
Didn't
Tesla?
people think that back then as well?
I mean true, but
yeah, I suppose if you
I
go back to
remember-
Victorian times, they're not thinking, well, I can't wait for a microwave to be around. You're like, this. They're like, this is the be all end all, you know?
But then I suppose someone must have, you know, I'm unintelligent when it comes to like who first like got like not satellite, but like you know like images of the moon or like looking at the moon and actually determining what it was. I'm sure someone back in those ages must have gone, "Go, I can't wait to travel there one day." Like
I suppose.
that it must be like there must be thoughts.
But that's more like a visual
don't
thing,
know.
isn't it? Like, oh, I can see that planet in the sky, or I can see that moon. I could go there, but it's not like you can't just see of the like concept of the internet or something like that.
To counter that, but then to bring it back to ghosts, if you see something fall over and it's not you, then it must be comprehensible that it is a ghost.
But is it?
Or, sorry, just testing again.
It's better.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good.
Sorry, I just had to give the ghosts in some incense.
there's a quote that I saw from a guy. I think it was like about 50 years ago,
Wow.
and it was
How
like
old
this
are you,
professor
From a guy.
from I can't remember his name.
He
I
saw a
can't
quote
remember. I'm
50
gonna have to
years
look it up after. But he basically said everything that's ever going to be invented has already been invented.
What?
That's what they
I've
said.
heard that
That's
quote
what
before.
that's what a professor said like 50 years ago.
Yeah, but
Because
then
they thought at that time that technology had been as advanced as it could ever go. Like they couldn't even imagine how like it could go any further. So if you take that same concept of technology to like, you know, other things and think like supernatural stuff, we probably think we know as much now about ghosts or spirits as you'll ever possibly know. But then people in 100 years could probably look back at us and think we're idiots because now they know like a million times more than we could ever know.
true.
Haven't we like in the past 19 years like advanced more technologically than like the entire human race did from like the beginning of it until like 1920 or something like that?
It's
Like,
because we're in a golden era of
Okay.
sort of technology advancement.
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
think
like
it's
similar
similar-
to like the Industrial Revolution.
Do you think
Mm.
it's going to keep going, or do you think eventually people are
Oh
going to?
yeah, of course.
Well,
It will just like constantly ramp up, right? Like
I'll
it's
say
like, never going to end.
If we're in the golden era, then it would never end because if the technology is that good, it would we'd always have that good of technology to keep on progressing.
It's like a
As long as-
snowball effect.
Yeah,
As
it
long
would
as we
just
don't
keep
have some sort of pandemic that wipes out half the population and we have to restart from fresh.
Which kind of
That'd be a
actually goes
shame.
on to my question that I have got written down.
Oh, go for it.
I don't know who to like. I don't know who to aim it at, but I guess anybody can.
direct it
feel
at
free to
Harry,
answer.
and then someone else
Harry?
can just pop
Okay,
in.
sure. All right,
What?
Harry.
Okay.
Isolated island or desert. Imagine yourself there. Okay.
Okay.
How long, or just in general, do you think you could survive there if you were given a general like guide book, like not another person, but like a book that had everything that you need to survive, and you had like enough tools, so like you had like the not the wire, but like you had the trees, that you can kind of skim down to make
So it would-
wire-esque.
Yeah, so it would teach me how to do all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Do you think you could survive like say like a not like a desert island, but like a woods after like one of these pandemics? How long
Yeah,
do you think
yeah,
you could
yeah.
survive? Do you personally
Unless
think
I
you
had-
could survive?
Honestly, I don't think I'm self-sufficient enough to do it by myself. I think just trying to follow instructions, I'd probably get something wrong. I'd just end up killing myself somehow, and I know it would be fucking nasty.
Do you
I'd be
reckon-
like, I'd try and skim a tree, and I'd accidentally like skin myself or something.
Skim a tree.
What?
Skin. I don't know.
Skin. He needs the skin from the tree.
Why are you trying to skin a tree, bud?
He doesn't need the wood
don't
for
know.
fire. He just wants the bark to wear it.
I'm making paper.
Yeah, I need armor. I need wooden armor, like in Rust.
Do you think you'd have a breakdown before you would you'd get
Yes, I would
back?
100% have a breakdown.
I don't think I would if I was in that situation. I don't know if I would survive. I just don't think I'd have a breakdown.
I think what
Wait,
would get
so-
me the most would be food. Like I don't like distinguishing different berries, and then also going from like the like heavy nutrition, not nutrition, but like heavy on nutrition, carbs, whatever.
Yeah.
Like just the fact that everything's so loaded. Going from that to like a plant-based diet to then like being able, like learning to hunt. I think the hunting would be the hardest thing for me.
Like, have you ever seen like a pheasant or like a bird or a squirrel outside your house, and you're like, I want to open the door, just have a look, see what he's up to, and then they're gone. They hear the door creak, and they're just like, they've just spread and dispersed. Like,
Yeah.
how are you ever going to like track and kill
be fair,
something like that?
I
Bow
think
and arrow,
but-
dude.
No, but to be fair, I think when animals are out of their natural habitat, they're a lot more aware. Like when they step onto your front door, you know what I mean, like your lawn,
But I don't know. I
they're-
mean, in the
they're
streets.
a lot more defensive. Yeah, in the streets. Well, I mean, again,
You know, like
they're
I've got a forest next to my house, but like you see a little bird on a thing, you take a step towards it, and it looks at you, and it just pisses off instantly.
yeah, well, because you're not being very sneaky, are you?
I suppose. Plus,
Like,
Harry, I like
opening
how
the
Harry
front
just
door.
says he'll bring a bow and arrow. Like, I imagine Harry got a little stick tied together with another little stick.
I'm gonna be. I reckon I could make a bow and arrow if I had. I'd get a twig. I'd put a hole in it. I'd get some string from somewhere.
And find some main string.
It derailed so quickly.
It'll kill a couple spiders. Get some string from them.
Nathan,
Yes.
going off of the fact that it's, same question, but obviously, just imagine you didn't have obviously like this kidney disease that you have. Like imagine like nothing wrong with you.
Just
But, like, when
guys,
you get sent-
guys, just imagine you're not dying.
Nathan,
Exactly.
imagine you
Like-
haven't got this disabilitating fucking disease wrong with you. Imagine you don't have your fucking issues that you have.
Now, imagine you haven't got that. What do you think would be thing most likely to kill you if you were like after like in like a post-apocalyptic world in one of these situations where you have to survive?
Probably another person.
No, let's just imagine that like you're on your own.
Was he saying I'm the only person in the entire world?
Yeah, like imagine like there's like it was like a 99.9% of the population wiped out.
Okay,
That's
so I'm not going to come into contact with another
Yeah,
human.
don't
my
worry
entire
about
life.
it. Like it's very
Okay.
rare. Yeah.
Kill me, probably like an infection. Probably like just a little tiny cut that ends up getting infected, right?
Yeah, it's like that's actually
That's probably the
that's what a lot of people say would be one of the most like the things that would kill you the quickest. Is like the fact that unless you know what you're doing and how like spare like antibiotics and
yeah. There's no doctors.
Can I ask Josh?
Mhm.
Is this scenario, the 99% are dead?
yeah.
Is he on an island? Is he in Essex? Like, where is he?
I'd say in like in a woody area that's like miles away from civilization. Like for like I don't know, instead of virus was like it was. Just,
It
like,
transported him there.
So
I've
basically-
watched a lot of survival YouTube videos.
You mean that
I
one
know
where
a
the guy
thing or
cooks
two.
outside?
I honestly feel like I used to go to scouts as well. I honestly feel like I wouldn't die from like lack of shelter. I wouldn't die from lack of food or water. I'd probably die from like a cut that gets infected or something.
Now, if you could have one of us with you there to help, who would it be? Who would you want snuggled up to you at night to keep?
Like,
Hmm,
I would just like to pose. I'm a nice warm snuggler, but I don't think I'll be be very handy with the work.
yeah, I feel like Jack, no offense, you'd be way too lazy. I
I'd
feel
just
like
be
I'd
like-
have to do everything.
I'll just be laying back. Nathan, I'm cold. Get over here.
You'd somehow still wake up at 8 p.m. every day.
If you pick me, you can use me for food.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking like if it
Harry
gets
knows how
down
to
to
make a
it,
bow
and
and
we have a really bad winter, I can just eat you.
Well,
You
then
can get
you choose
inside
Josh.
me as fat.
Well, then I'd
What are
pose
you
you'd like to
talking
eat me
about?
again. There's a lot
I
more
don't want
meat
to
on
be
me.
inside you.
Wear me like a bearskin coat or something like that.
I'm instantly picturing
be
that
warm.
The Office scene where Dwight is like wearing the face.
Honestly, I'll probably choose Josh
Yeah.
because he's a lunk of a man.
A
Like,
lunk.
Imagine like I just bet Josh, we need a bit of wood like for the fire. He'll just bring back like a whole tree over his shoulder, you know.
To be fair, that would also be Bobby as well though. Saying Bobby is strong, dude.
Bobby's like an ant.
Bobby's a big strong man. He's
I
nothing.
know
Poor
it is.
Bobby.
No, dude. That's a compliment because ants are,
I mean,
carry 10
yeah.
times, like 10,000 times their weight. or
Exactly,
something
that's what I'm
8
saying.
times the weight. So if you compare that up to me, I'm I think around about 200 pounds now, at the moment, which is all like 95 to 100 odd kilos,
So you can-
somewhere around there.
1,000 kilograms.
Josh would bring you a
You just-
tree. Bobby would bring
So
you
I
the
could lift,
forest.
like,
Bobby would bring you a
I could
building.
just I could just walk over there with like I don't know an entire civilization just.
Hey Bobby, do you want to move that mountain for me real quick?
Is
I'm a
it
bit
talking
insulted
of
that-
you?
You haven't even considered me, Nate.
Yeah, I was thinking Joey's got some survival. I feel like in his head is innately wired to survive. Joey's a survivor. Harry, I don't think he's a survivor. I feel like Joey's a survivor.
Can I be
Joey
honest
might
with
be a
you?
survivor in like a modern world.
What about
No,
everyone else?
I was gonna say-
Not just me.
Can I interrupt? I think Joey is more of a thriver than a survivor. I feel like if you put him in a
Isn't
situation,
that better?
not in this
I'd
situation.
rather
no.
thrive than just survive.
No, but I think like you thrive in like an established situation where you have like a safety net. Like whereas I think a survivor can you don't see a survivor coming out of the woods and be like, oh, I'm gonna be a fucking millionaire now. Like they would stay there, they would work from the ground up, and like all they care about is surviving. I feel
Joey's
like Joey wouldn't be. He'd be like, I don't want to I don't want to survive anymore. I want to thrive.
he's the
I'd
one.
like. Go on.
He's
Insult
the
me.
one that you'll. No, it was a compliment, really. Like, say, Nathan, it's you and Bobby. Joey's the one that you find, and you're like, oh my god, another member for the group. And within a week, he's taken control. You haven't even realised he's spun his little webs, and he's getting you to go out and get wood. He's getting
He
Bobby to
is
go
a-
out and get wood.
yeah.
And he's just like, oh, I'll organise. I'll make sure everything's organised here at camp. You go do this. You go do that.
He's very manipulative. I agree.
Honestly, I would have.
Whoa!
I would happily just let in that sort of scenario. I would let somebody else just take charge and just tell me what I need to go gather.
Well, that's
Then
accurate.
I'll be able to have in my head my goals, my things. So like I need to do this, this, and this, and then they can just sort of take care of it, and then I can just go out and get more.
So you're
Okay,
not the
then,
big
Nate,
picture
I'd like
man.
to change your answer for you. I think you should just pick Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby's a natural follower. That's like, honestly, that's the biggest perk. Just like he just gets it done. He doesn't question it.
Well, there's a follow-up question. Out
I
of
w-
everyone here, who do you think would be, if you were in that situation, do you think you'd be the follower? Like, if someone's going to have to take charge, you know what I mean?
Oh, I'd be a sheep for sure.
I wouldn't necessarily say I would be a follower.
I don't think
I would try and sort of just ascertain control, but if somebody else decided that they wanted to lead it, I wouldn't necessarily stand up to them. I would sort of just let it happen because I'd rather avoid a conflict at that point. Let someone else do it because
You'd be the
I
voice
know
of-
I'd be comfortable
Here we go.
just going out and getting stuff.
Bobby's
be
not,
honest with you?
Bobby's not a survivor. He's a schemer.
He's a schemer, dude. I think in a situation like that, I think like honestly, like stories, books, and movies romanticize the idea of a leader. If 6 of us right now were sent into the situation what I just said, I think there would be no need for a leader at all.
Oh,
I feel like everyone would just get on and do it. And I'm kind of throw you under the bus here, Jack. I think you would try to
that's
take the lead.
great.
I think you'd try to take the lead, but it would not be necessary. Like, I think everyone would get on and just everyone would be able to come together and be like, all right, this needs to be done, and go on and get done it. Like, I generally think the idea of a leader is so romanticized, but
But-
a leader is basically useless.
I reckon
At
I'd
the
get
same time-
exiled.
Executed.
Do you ever
I
see,
think-
do you ever see Maze Runner where like they put the collar on them and then like throw them outside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harry says F one too many times.
They'd be like, "Where's all the meat gone that we've been saving up?" And I'd just be there like licking my fingers. I'd be like, "Harry, just fuck off.
You look at him, he just says
Get out
F.
of here."
I think
Nah, dude.
society has shown though that you do need leaders.
Nah, dude, I think. Wait, sorry, say that again.
I think society has shown that you
Oh,
do need
society.
leaders.
No, yeah, you need leaders in society, but
But then that would be a society.
Yeah, but
it would be
like-
a s-
obviously,
if all
obviously,
of us
but-
were there, we'd
but
need
because
someone
there's
takes.
there's so little of us, but I think we could like it'd be more of a council. Like a council would be more efficient than a leader.
But like,
Like-
you know, if you're in that situation and say we're all sat there, everyone's fucking tired, and you're like, oh, we need more wood for the fire. You're like, Josh, go do it. You're like, I don't want to do it. Jack, you go do it. Who's gonna, you need sort of
I
like
would just
somebody
say-
to take the,
Yeah,
to
but I
hand
think
out
everyone would be able to-
responsibilities. As
Nah, I just think everyone will be able to call each other out on it.
like, I don't know. In my
if-
experience,
if-
not
if-
everybody pulls their own weight.
Exactly, but imagine you're in a 6-man scenario, basically like Minecraft survival scenario, where like, people's lives depended on it, and it wasn't just you. Afterwards, we're gonna go just fucking watch YouTube for 2 hours and then fall asleep in a cozy bed. Like everyone would have to pull their weight, or again, they would be like the Harry situation, be exiled. Like if you're in a group like that, it's completely different.
Could I maybe pass a motion for vote that I don't think we should exile him? I think we should just kill him and eat him.
It does seem like a waste to send him off.
I'll
on his
tell
own.
my mum if you do that.
Oh,
Have you guys ever seen a program called The 100?
I've heard of it. I've heard it's good.
Tell us
Basically, like
about
100 people get sent down to the Earth from space because no one's lived on the Earth for like 100 years or 150 years, and there's only 100 people, and they basically build a society, and one guy pretty much takes the lead, and everyone sort of follows him. He's got like a second in command sort of thing. But if
Is that like
us-
set out from the beginning? Like he's the leader.
Well, no, he makes himself the leader. He just takes charge and stuff. But if us 6 were in with 94 other people, would any of us be the leader of the 100?
Well, we've got 5 boys backing us
No.
up.
well, I
I
think
think-
it depends. I think it depends on the variables going into the situation. Are there still social classes? Like, I think those would still apply. I still think the people who, like, let's say you were a big shot on this spaceship. I think if you went down there, you'd naturally assume a position of a big shot because that's who you think you are.
Yeah.
I think in that situation, the biggest man would become the leader.
Well, like the most physically strongest. He just
Yeah,
beat you
so-
up. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Like a prison scenario.
Yeah, that's literally what would happen. Like imagine like an officer's kid, because it is in that movie though, in that series, the 100, it's all kids and it's like teenagers.
Yeah, like 18.
Yeah. So like if like an officer's kid got sent down there and he was like, all right, yeah, my dad was a big boy, fuck you, and then the guy turns around and just smacks him. He's gonna be establishing a lot of dominance there, and I think none of us would be the leader. And like, I would say out of the average of 100 people, there's probably gonna be somebody a bit more physically imposing than the 6 of us.
But Josh, you're 7'2".
But what about smarts? What about knowledge?
College.
I don't
feel
think
like
that.
I feel like the brains always comes as the second in charge.
Yeah.
So you get the strongest one who's literally just asserted his dominance and sort of almost forced his way to the top, and then he'll recruit the one he deems as the smartest, who is making all the
Me then.
decisions and
They could be
making
one
sure
plus
everyone is running it properly, and he would take them under their wing.
Yeah. It does
Mhm.
seem like the
And then-
strongest would always like take charge. That's true.
I don't know though.
But like, have you?
I think
I forgot the name of the book, but it might be
you
exactly
say-
what Nathan's thinking, honestly. But this one was, it's all kids and they have like supernatural powers. Is that the one that you mentioned?
No,
That's-
no, no.
That's
Oh,
the Cherub
well,
series you're talking about,
No,
isn't
no,
it?
no, it's not Cherub. That's like Secret Agents. But it's like they're all put in like this massive dome on
Oh, you're
the
thinking
Earth.
of the Gone series.
Yes, the Gon series. The person who takes charge, they happen to be the main character, but they also happen to be the person with the most strongest like
well,
powers.
I don't think that's a coincidence.
Yeah, I know, but like, I mean, the person who takes charge
Just so
always seems to
happened.
be the person who's the strongest. Because I don't know.
Out of all these 100 people, they were writing about the person that was the biggest role.
But like,
But,
you know,
Crazy.
like if you're the strongest person and someone's like, "Hey, look, I've got the brains, buddy. Why don't you let me take charge and you just be my right hand man?" Then they're gonna be like, "Fuck you." You know what I mean? No one wants to be lower down. You know, you don't want to be a receptionist and someone says, "Can you go clean the toilets?"
I'd say, I think it is. It would be the strongest. I don't think the six out of the six of us, anyone would be there, up there. I think Joey. I think you would be the closest to the top of like.
I think we'd all be mid-pack.
Yeah, definitely. We're not lower. I think we'd be mid pack. I think we'd all be probably more useful than the average Joe.
I've just realised we're going to be one of those non-compliant groups that sort of breaks away and eventually betrays them.
Yeah, I was.
That's who
thinking
we are.
I feel like that's you.
I like that.
Whoa.
I
Well,
don't
that's
reckon
you,
I'd,
Joey
I'd
the
be
snake.
a part of that. I'd be too worried about the consequences of the already established hierarchy, who probably has a well-established almost guard or militia ready to deal with such threats.
Bobby's already assumed there's a threat to him.
Yeah,
He's,
100%.
he's imagined
He's
a
right,
threat.
He's right.
He is in survival mode.
It's fight or flight, and the flight never takes off.
Oh my word! I don't know. I think in those sort of scenarios, I think smarts help a lot. Like it's one thing to be a brute, but I do think like it's the smart people that will lead the society.
Yeah.
So I do think they will naturally become leaders in the sort of group.
Well, I don't know, dude. Like, if you think about it, like, imagine the upper lower class of today. All right, like or working class would probably be a better description. Like,
How do
imagine
you
the work-
tell? Like, do you just get them to like lay out some sources in front of them and see which one they
obviously,
pick?
that's the exact. It's like the Avatar test. They always pick their old toys. Like these guys always pick the same sauces. Anyway, imagine like 50 builders, 50 builders and 50 accountants were put into this situation. 100% those accountants. 100%. Those builders are going to be just like are going to be the top dogs. 100%. They're like the accountants and the office boys and office bodies are going to be just like they'd be either beaten into submission or they would be not scared, like too scared, but they just wouldn't want to fight with them. And I think if you took like this day and age society and I went to the post-apocalyptic, the people that were downtrodden and the people who were stepped on and the people who were lower in the ladder would want to use the situation of having no rules and no laws to just take advantage and just to do what they've always wanted to do, probably, and be upper and higher and bigger and better.
I don't know why, but that reminds me of the Purge. You know, all the rich people hide
Basically.
in their locked gates, while everybody else is
Basically.
like, "I want to get in there and murder them."
Yeah.
I've never watched The Purge, but surely like the mega rich can just get in a private jet for 24 hours.
Well, they sort of like
shut down.
just fly around, but then the pilot's like, "Hey, fuck you."
Basically, I mean, like, yeah, like you imagine like the people who wanted to kill that person was probably thinking, he might do that. So let's just pretend to be like, let's just get in there and pretend to be a guard, or get in there, pretend to be like a bag loader or whatever, and then just get on the plane and be like, all right, well, you're gonna die now.
Oh, sorry, bag loader. We don't need you. You can get off.
Shot in the head.
I've got a gun too. I've got a ready gun.
If you were in the Purge, wouldn't you just take like pilot lessons on all the other days of the year, so you could fly your own plane?
Oh,
Wouldn't you just not be in America? Because I'm pretty sure the purge thing was just in America,
Yeah, it's
wasn't
an American
Yeah.
thing, really.
it? Like, why the people who stay in America during the purge are just idiotic.
They'll
Apart from
be
the people who
fine.
would-
The
They
poor
won't kill
people.
us.
It wasn't. There was like more Purge films that was explained that it wasn't just to lower crime rate. It was also to get rid of the poor people. That was
Yeah.
like the third one or the fourth
Dude,
one.
those films got like increasingly way more dramatic. Like the first one, they're trying to get into one house, and then I'm pretty sure by the third one, they're like, "There's a
So city.
a truck going around like pulling in people and just massacring everyone they see.
Didn't they make a TV series about the Purge as well?
Yeah.
How is? I don't really understand how that's popular.
I mean, it's an interesting concept.
Like I like the first film, but I didn't love it.
Well,
You know what I mean? It's like it seemed like a cool one-off indie film that's got like an interesting idea. But
Do you
then
know
it just
what was a
kept
better?
going.
Do you know what was a better film that I think? Again, I'm sorry, I don't want to say better. Do you know what was a good film like that is in the similar vein as the Purge? I think it's called The Panic Room or something like that. Has anyone ever seen that?
No.
No.
It's a similar concept. So it's not like there's not like a grand societal thing where they're like, okay, you know, you can go kill people, whatever. It was just this woman who and her kid who were like in their apartment or in their like they had the expensive house or something like that. There was a panic room, but it starts to get broken into. And they run to this panic room and they are in there like they're in there for like 24 27 hours or something with like not enough supplies, and like nobody was going to check on their house, and there's these three people just trying to get into this panic room for like that amount of time, and it's like they start going around their house and like taking all their valuables, and I think like they find like one of their like little brothers or something like that. Oh, like dude, like proper scary stuff. It's just like basically imagine anybody like coming into your home. That I'm more scared of something like that than like ghosts or anything like irrational. Like
Mm.
I've got much more rational fears.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this to somebody else recently, but it's like when I was younger, I used to be scared of the dark because, you know, out there might be a ghost, a ghoul, a goblin. You know what I mean? But now I'm terrified of the dark because there's going to be some guy out there who's going to murder me. Because I don't know, you sort of realize that people are the more terrifying thing.
Yeah.
See, I definitely agree. Like, I feel like my scariest like moments in life have been involving
people.
people and not supernatural.
Yeah.
Like, what, Harry? You got a little giggle?
Just no, I agree with you. I agree with you. I don't think I've never had any kind of scary supernatural occurrence. It's always been like
Kids let me
not
catch the ball,
exciting,
and
but
then
like
boom.
wow.
I have the most terrified I've been in my entire life, and it's a recurring thing, is when my own brain fails me. It's when I actually have
That
night terrors.
happens regularly for you.
Always, every day. I've got night terrors, and it comes from like it stems. Like, I don't know what it stems from, but like basically, I'll have a dream, and I'll feel like it's a nightmare that it feels real, and I can tell that it's a nightmare. Like I can tell it's not real, but my brain doesn't wake up from sleep, so I feel it. And sometimes I'll wake up and I'll still be in a night terror. Like I'll think I'm in a night. Like I'll think it's that situation. Like literally, like 2 days ago, I woke up at like 1:30 a.m. Like I fell asleep next to Lois for like an hour. And outside of my door, we have like this outside the bedroom door. We have a like just a light just outside the. Basically, when you come out, it's like the front door, bedroom. So we have a light, and that was left on. And I was having a nightmare that for some reason there was blood on the wall, and the lights were off outside the room. But when I fell asleep, I knew the light was on, so I woke up terrified, sweating. I could still see the blood on the wall, and I was looking at the door, and the light behind the door was off, and I looked again, and it was back on. So I thought somebody was outside that turned the light on. And I literally said to Lucy as she was asleep, I was like, Lucy, be quiet. And she woke up, and she's like, what? I was like, be quiet, somebody's outside the door. And I could swear I could hear a footstep. And then like 5 seconds go by, and I'm like waking up from my grogginess, and I was like, no wait, the light was on the whole time. I look at the wall, obviously there's nothing there, and all I've got that's really scary now is like an angry girlfriend that I've just woken up with like
That's
some
really
That's
terror
kinda
comes in.
scary.
with some like proper bullshit. And like that's not the first thing that's happened to her, but like literally like for those first 5 seconds, like my heart is going. Like I genuinely believe somebody was outside that just turned the light on. But then like I just remember it like back like 10 seconds ago. I was like, oh, I saw the light was on the whole time. But my brain made me believe that the light had just turned on.
And does that ever happen with like I've forgotten the name of them, but like when
Lucid
people have
dreams.
experiences where they see like creatures in their room as well.
Yeah, well, sleep paralysis.
That's it,
Sleep
paralysis.
paralysis, yeah.
That's why I've never been paralyzed. My cousin has, and actually it happens a lot in our family. But like I said, I have night terrors, which are literally nightmares that feel real. Like
Or like
it's
a
like
lucid dream, but
that's actually how
lucid
it started. I wanted to learn how to lucid dream, so I listened to these videos for like a week straight of how to do it when you're falling asleep. And after that, I can still lucid dream sometimes, but I mainly have night terrors. So
I-
after learning how to lucid dream, I now have night terrors. I
I
can't control it.
Interesting.
I was trying to learn how to lucid dream. I was watching all those videos, probably for like longer than a month, probably longer than a week, like a month. And
Yeah.
then I think I spoke to like one of my parents or something. But I remember like in one of the videos I was like talking, like I watched like a YouTube video. It was like why you shouldn't lucid dream, and it was literally gave one of those reasons, and it actually scared me into stopping because I don't remember
Yeah.
any of my dreams really. Like probably like once a year or twice a year I remember a
That's a
dream.
surprise.
And then and then I was like, I really want to just like see what it's like in my mind and see what it's like, but like I don't think I could stop myself. It's like from like just thinking of like I hate spiders, thinking of a massive fucking spider.
Yeah, legit. That's what happens. I can't control it.
Like,
And
oh my
it'll
god, I
just
could
be
do
the most
anything.
irrational
But
thing.
I could fucking terrify myself. Like, but I don't want to think of a spider. And then boom, it's right there.
Yeah. But then, like, the thing is, like, you kind of. So it's weird. It's like when I first started, I was like, I want to learn like what it would feel like to fly. So I'd start flying. But then I've got literally the most terrifying dream for me. And it's recurring. It's nothing crazy, but it's like, do you know when like you go to a hotel and there's like the corridor and there's like a door on the left, door on the right, door on the left, door on the right, door on the left, door on the right.
Sure.
I would sleep and then I'd open my eyes, and at the end there'd be this really dimly light corridor of about 50 doors on either side of a hotel corridor, and then the opposite end there's a guy, like a man, all black, and he has a blade that's like dripping with blood, like a massive blade, and he just looks at me, like I can't see his face, but he just looks at me, and he does that thing where he kind of starts to slowly walk at me.
So a
And
sprint or just walk?
No, he starts slowly walking, and I look behind me, and it's a concrete wall. There's nothing, like no way there. I look at the end, like to where he is. It's a concrete wall as well. So there's just these doors on either side. So he's just walking, and he has these really heavy boots that I can hear that like echo in the hallway. I dive into one of these doors. Like I forget every time. I dive into one of these doors, and the doors are connected to each room. So each room is connected on either side. So what I'll do is I'll go through these rooms until I hear him pass. Then I will go into the next room, or I will cross from the hallway. So I'll come out of the room and go to the hallway, like Scooby Doo style, going through the doors.
Oh, yeah.
And I will literally just like constantly hear him, like stepping, getting to the door, and I will move to another door, and then like he'll start saying things like, "Hiding's no good," and he'll like start walking towards me again, and then he'll call out the number that's on the door I'm inside, but he always just about gets to the door, and I'll move. And I've literally, it feels like I'm in there for how long I'm sleeping. It's like 6 hours, 7
Dude, that
hours,
sounds
8 hours.
absolutely fucking terrifying.
Yeah. And it happens so often. And like, I've woken Lucy up before. Like, what just like something that happened earlier on. But I think the more than that, like when I first came over here and I slept with her for the first time, like next to her for the first time, I woke up and like I woke up in a cold sweat. And usually she can talk to me. Like I'll wake up and my eyes will be open, and she'll talk to me as if I'm awake, and I will respond to her as if I'm awake, but I don't remember. I'm still sleeping.
You're
And
like in that just waking state.
No, like as in like I'm asleep,
Oh,
and I'll
okay.
wake up, and when she looks at me, like my eyes are open as if I'm fully awake, and I'll speak to her, and I'll sit there, and I woke up one time and I was like, Lucy, why is the man in the corner?
Oh my lord. That
Yeah.
gave me the chills.
I legit, and she was like, when she woke up and she was like, what? Obviously, because like it's a very scary thing to hear. And I was like, he's in the corner, he's not moving. What's he doing? And she was just like, she obviously got out of bed, looked in the corner, and obviously no one's there. But she started trying to wake me up, and I would just keep saying it over and over to her. And like she started bawling, and I'd wake up eventually, and I'd wake up and I just like see her like cradling in the bed, like crying, like tears down her eyes.
Jesus Christ. This seems like something
I would
straight
be
out of a horror film, and then the next night
terrified.
you like, it escalates.
Yeah, it's just like that's what scares me the most is like brain, like, but people are just fucking mental, like weird, like that, and like it is very scary for me. And you know what type of like, Jack, remember when we were at Harry's house and we watched that movie about like when a girl the Stephen King movie where like she's locked up to the bed after her husband like has a heart attack. Why am I saying that? Obviously you don't remember it.
No,
But
I
there's
remember.
this-
I remember the film. I remember the film. She's like, they were like doing some foreplay stuff, and she was like cuffed up to the bed, and then he has like
Yeah.
a heart attack right there.
Just what he describes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a heart attack and like she can't get out, and she starts like hallucinating because she can't get enough water,
Yeah.
can't get enough food and all that. She starts hallucinating, and she thinks she hallucinates this like really horrible disfigured man that comes out and starts like eating her husband and like
I thought it was
raping her, like raping her husband.
The dogs that ate her husband. He just stand. He
Yeah.
The first time she sees him, she hears that she thinks she hears the door opening,
Yeah, yeah.
and then because the doors swung open the whole time.
Mhm.
Because it was like when they first went into the house, it was kind of like off a whim that they got on the bed. So the doors open the whole time she's tied to this bed, and then she keeps thinking she can hear someone walking through the corridor into her room, and then the very last time she sees him, he's like just stood in the corner.
Because that's what basically that happens to me a lot as well. I will see like a figure in the corner, just standing
Yeah.
there.
But I was confused at the very end of that film because she's in like court with him.
Yeah,
And
because
then
he
It was
he's-
actually real or something.
Yeah, it was real. Yeah, it explains it. He was really he was like a he was just a really like horribly disfigured guy who
Instead,
he wouldn't touch women. He only would like he would actually like sexually like abuse like, men and their body, and then like kill them and like take bits of their flesh and stuff like that. And
ugh.
she didn't take him to court or anything like that. She just he was like in court to be like arrested or something because they finally found him.
Yeah.
And so like, he came up to like confront her demons because she would still have like night terrors about him every night because they found out he was real. But,
Josh,
yeah.
to bring this back to ghosts and times, what you're saying, Freya told me a story about people that were lucid dreaming and they saw a man.
Oh, it's the
He's-
same. Everyone sees the same man.
Yeah, he's a tall man that just stands beside your bed and watches you. Like he
Hmm.
doesn't attack you. He doesn't like he just stands there and watches while you're lucid dreaming. And like it's almost like sleep paralysis, so you can't do anything. You just see him staring at you, and he
I've never
just
had
sits
that.
there and watches you.
I've
And
never had that, but have had a
Yeah.
figure.
someone described what the man looked like online, and like they drew up a mock-up of like from the descriptions and what they saw in their own dream, and they posted it online, and like thousands of people had the same face, the same man visit them in their dreams.
Yeah, and I think that is kind of believable, but also because it's such a weird fugue state that I think people will just associate that face with it because they can never really associate a face with it. Like I feel like
But
just
you
having
you only dream faces you've seen
Yeah.
before.
yeah.
So if you've got thousands of people
Do you know what I reckon
saying
it is?
that like looking up online that oh I've seen a man in my dreams, they look it up online, they find this forum and they say oh my god that's the man I've seen.
Do you know what I reckon it is
You've got
though?
thousands of people doing that.
I reckon it is because what Joey said is that like everyone sees, you can only really imagine faces you've already seen. I reckon because everyone sees so many faces that I imagine that the average face, if you combined every face, probably looks pretty similar. So I think if you just took like every face you could ever imagine and it was associated to one weird creature that you've seen in your dreams, I reckon it would look very similar to everyone else.
Mm.
But I've never seen that. But again, I've had a figure by my bed, but I can never really put a face on them.
The thing I always find weird is like the idea that you can't dream a face that you've never seen or something like that. But then like in sleep paralysis, people often describe creatures with like faces like looking over them and like just creatures in general. So I know that must be like putting there must like be some sort of obscurity where it's not like a human face or something. But I just find that strange. Like you can see creatures that haven't even existed. Like you don't see them in movies, but your brain creates them. Is that
Yeah.
not weird to
Yeah.
anyone else?
Well, I mean, to go on a tangent, not so much tangent, but going on from your point. A lot of the times when I'm dreaming, I'll dream up like there'll be just loads of people. These are just regular dreams, but I can always see their faces, but I don't recognize seeing any of them. So it must just be people I've seen in my lifetime
Yeah.
through passing, and my
literally
brain has
just everyone does
subconsciously
that.
remembered. But
Mm.
then, going on a bit of a tangent, staying on the same track. The guy who made the Alien films, I can't quite remember his name,
Something
but the
Ripley?
aliens from it were his night terrors that he used to draw down. And
Really?
he would just see them. Yeah. And he would just used to. I have Kurt Geiger in my head. I don't think that's the right. I think that's a designer.
It says
Ridley
Is it
Scott.
Ridley?
Scott
Yeah,
was the
Ridley Scott.
director.
Oh.
No, it's not. It's not. The person who actually came up with the alien
Oh,
design.
apologies.
Not the director. Nothing to do with the film, but the person who actually drew them down originally.
It says screenplay by Dano Ban.
Like, no, it's not that.
Annabelle.
Okay, so it's just like
It's
the person who
literally
came up with the concept for the alien.
Literally, no one who had anything to do with it. This guy had stuff to do with the film because it was his drawings that he would make that he used to have night terrors of, and he would just see these creatures, which were the aliens, in his dreams, and he would have these vivid night terrors and hallucinations and everything about it. And that was the whole inspiration for the Alien films.
I suppose the best way to probably, well, I mean, at least for him, probably the best way to go for your night terror is to see it murdered on the screen.
Oh. I mean, I was
true.
kind of close with Kurt Geiger. It's H.R. Geiger.
HR Geiger.
And he,
On the-
he used,
Sorry, go on.
yeah, and like you'd see the base concept of the aliens with the stretched skull and the slender figure, but a lot of them there'd be people incorporated into them, like skeletons and corpses and everything. And some of the things he drew down are truly terrifying to look at, and then imagining that he was dreaming
Yeah.
of that.
On
Makes
the
me
topic
glad
of
that I don't have
aliens,
dreams now.
like on the topic of aliens, that's because you don't get enough sleep. But on the topic of aliens, like, is it justifiable to say that they're equal to ghosts in the sense that we've literally got no proof whatsoever at all that any other life exists? So should they be on the same level as ghosts, or do you think? Because like, I'm sure if I asked all of you, you'd say, yeah, there has to be life
No.
out there. But
Oh
does there?
yeah, okay.
Like,
Yeah.
does there have to be life? If there has to be life out there, then doesn't there like have to be, I don't know, a god? Like, surely there's pretty large chance that there's nothing out there.
But the difference between that is that we are life, so we know life exists. We don't know God exists.
True.
That's a good
So
point.
like, I'd say the chance that in a universe like this, infinitely big, that there's not a single other planet with any life form is just so low,
Where
right?
it's like, if it happened to us, then, inevitably it's going to happen to
Yeah,
someone else
I'm
as
not saying they're going to be humanoid like we see in the movies, but like
Mm.
even just like a bacteria, there's
Mm.
going to be some form of life somewhere in
Given
in
enough
the
time.
in the universe. Like but who knows? Like there might be a world more advanced than us.
Mm.
There could be with like humanoid-ish. Maybe like the way we evolved is just the most efficient
Safer
mammal.
life.
for
You
our
know,
planet.
yeah. So like, what if there's a similar atmosphere or like a gazillion, million, billion miles away in the universe,
Chances
and
are.
they've also evolved like humanoid with like 2 limbs that they walk on? They could look maybe similar. They might have like an insanely advanced. Like you just don't know.
I mean, the chances are, if there was or is another intelligent life form out there, they've probably been conquered and gone extinct. Because, it's one finding their planet, it's another, it happening at the same timeline as us. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Could have happened
exactly. Like,
millions
Yeah.
of years ago, billions
just
of years
because
ago.
right now we're at a certain technological like I don't know, in the year 1000 we were at a certain technological point, doesn't mean that everything else in the planet was never further ahead than we were, you know.
Because recently they found out, well, they've discovered, like the first life form on Earth that doesn't breathe,
Real?
and I feel like that's like something that we hadn't even considered. Like,
Wait, what do you mean
to
by
us,
doesn't breathe? Life form like a bacteria doesn't breathe.
like it's hard to explain. I don't know the depths of it, but I think like an actual like living life form that similar, larger than bacteria, like multiple
Okay.
cells. But again, I don't know much about it. But I just think that's interesting that like how different life could be on another planet. Like we're looking for planets that have the same like biome as
Yeah.
Earth, but it could be a completely different environment that actually breeds life.
Well, like,
I just find that interesting.
what happened if everyone went, Corona killed everyone. Okay, everyone dies. We know our
Okay.
planet is habitable for life forms. What
Mhm.
if do you think, in another 1,000,000, 2,000,000 years, another, I don't know, race of like intelligent life starts to develop? Do you think it would look similar to a human, or do you think it would just look something totally different or complex? Do you think, since we're on the same planet and the same, like,
Yeah, I think it would. I think it would be the same, almost the same as where we are now. Like, how many years have humans been like evolving?
A
like
lot.
200,000 or something?
Is that?
I don't actually know the number.
Let's
I
just say
think
200,000 because Jack's thrown that out. But like, if you put another life form on like our planet, like that started where we started ish, like like a really small cell, and that gave them 200,000 years, I think they would end up pretty much the same as where humans are now.
Okay, I just googled it
So-
for.
It says humans have been around for 200,000 years, but like not Homo sapiens.
Oh, I'm saying like if you trace humans back to what they very first came from, like the fucking tadpole, you know,
Hmm.
what was how far back is that, Joe?
Well, Google says
Millions.
around
That's
66 million years ago was
Yeah.
when like we first appeared in like the fossil record.
Okay.
Sort of like, I assume like strands of our DNA, right? Like that's what it like the only thing it can be.
So if you gave like a little life form 66 million years,
I reckon it would be different.
I reckon I think it would
Because
probably be the same as a
this-
human.
the world is so much different today than it was 66 million years ago.
Is it though?
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
The
But
environment
there's
is.
still
Like it's
oxygen in the air.
different, but
Yeah,
it's not
there's
so.
oxygen. It doesn't matter if there's
carbon.
oxygen in the air. The way they'd adapt to the surroundings would be so much more different.
So
than
much
it
more
wa-
stuff in so much more stuff in the sea as well. Crap.
Yeah, than 66 million years ago.
Like the waste and
I mean-
pollution is what I was curious about.
But if
like-
you remember, and think about it, back when we were evolving, there was a lot more foliage and trees and and fauna around that would have probably I'm not sure. I could just pull it out
Contribute
my
a
arse,
tiny part.
but it could be contributing to there being more oxygen in the air and less of some of the other chemicals. So
Yeah.
we could have developed to sort of breathe and sustain ourselves using the most available um,
Like resource.
yeah, basically using the one that's most commonly found in air makeup. But now it's mostly nitrogen or something, I think.
But like, how many
So
years?
if something
Sorry, continue.
developed now, they may, instead of using oxygen to breathe, so to speak, they could use nitrogen or even carbon dioxide or some of the other gases
But-
that are abundant in the air.
But like, how many
Does
years would it
anything
take?
breathe nitrogen?
Well, I
Doesn't
mean,
everything breathe
I
oxygen?
think the whole point Bobby was making is that everybody uses oxygen because it's the most abundant resource when when things are
I mean,
evolving.
We all breathe it, yes. We all breathe nitrogen, but we don't use nitrogen.
Yeah.
We use oxygen to carry blood cells around our
Yeah.
body, or we carry oxygen around using blood cells in our body, which goes into the muscles and everything. But so what I'm saying is maybe if we had something developed now into a sentient life form of smart humanoid intellect, what if they use nitrogen instead of oxygen?
But like, wouldn't like I know you were saying how we've cut down trees, the environment is being demolished by humans. But like, if you say humans go extinct right now from the coronavirus, wouldn't in like a million years, probably more than a million, like 10 million, like still the time where something was be evolving, that would have like grown back in abundance. So it
Yeah,
would still
but-
be oxygen as the most common resource.
I
But
don't
we
know
would
if it-
still have all of the waste that we've produced.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah, I
the waste that we've
suppose.
produced wouldn't deteriorate over that time due
It'd
to
look
the
like
fact that most of
Futurama.
it, yeah, it just
Three-eyed fish.
doesn't disappear. I mean, but we could. I would say, we were talking earlier about how we could never comprehend ghosts, and like in our life, like going back 1,000 years, they couldn't comprehend the internet. We can't comprehend alien life forms. Like we can never think of what they could be and how their cellular structure could be, if they even have organs, how they're made up, their size, what they do to survive, reproduce. We can't comprehend any of that. We can make things up, but none of it is ever going to be what it actually is because we
Yeah.
physically cannot comprehend the unknown of what we have no clue of.
I've got two quick fire questions for everyone. In our
Mhm.
lifetimes, just like yes or no, maybe a tiny explanation. Do you think we will ever have a terrifying supernatural experience, like a
What, like a
very
pandemic?
like a very real event that happens in your life that makes you believe in ghosts? And do you think you'll ever, or like in our lifetimes, we'll ever find extraterrestrial life?
I think
Yes to the
yes for
first.
both.
Yes to the last question. No for the first.
What was that, Bobby?
I agree with Josh.
I think yes for both.
You think in our
Given-
lifetimes we'll find extraterrestrial life?
Yeah, I think
No.
given time with the advancements we've made over the past few years, I think given if our lifetime is to last the expected age, what, another 80 odd years perhaps, that's a lot of time to engineer things that are quite distant on the horizon of being created.
You think we're just gonna ramp into
I feel like in the next 10 to 20 years, we are going to have a big breakthrough that's going to, maybe a bit longer than that, maybe like 40, 50. We're going to have a big breakthrough that leads us to be able to travel vast distances in space.
I don't think it'll be in our lifetime.
What about-
I reckon that's literally like 10 generations down, maybe more.
what about supernatural? Because both Harry and Josh said that in your lifetimes you expect to have a supernatural event that happens to you.
For
No.
me, it's
No,
just
no, no,
like-
no.
No, I said there
Said
wouldn't
no.
be.
Oh,
I
okay.
said no, and Harry said the same.
I
I
just
said no to both.
yeah, I say no to both because I can't picture. Like, here's the thing: a supernatural event is something that's random, and right now I haven't had one, and there's no reason for me to have one.
Yeah, I suppose.
When I have one, lads, you'll be the first to know.
Hit record
Trust me.
instantly.
I mean, if
Yeah.
there hasn't been one for like, that hasn't been recorded for the last however many years has been recorded in the human race, then I mean, there's probably like maybe, or if you're stretching it, like 4,000 years down the line, if humans are still a thing, 5,000 years, then there could be a chance that something, but I just don't think there's a very minimal chance, like 0.001%. But I just don't. There's not nearly enough facts or anything that could prove it.
Well, you heard it here first from Harry's mouth.
There you go.
The
Literally from
Messiah
his mouth.
himself.
When you look at the Discord icon.
Going on a tangent, like Bobby says. Have you seen like the what's it called when you look at someone's bones? What's the thing that they use? Not an
An
X-ray,
X-ray?
but like what's it called? What's the actual thing called? Well, basically there's that, but you can see their tongue. Have you seen how the tongue works when people talk and how weird it looks?
No.
I say it looks so weird.
It's
Like
a
it's
lot longer
flapping
than you
about.
expect. It's a lot
It's-
longer than you expect it to be.
Yeah, it's a lot longer, and you can just see it like flap it. Yeah, like Jack's literally flapping around in your mouth. It looks
Yeah.
so odd. Just thought I'd say. I was
And
gonna
on
say,
that note,
I was gonna say it looks supernatural the way we talk.
and on that note, I think we should end it, lads. I think we should call it a day.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Good podcast, boys.
Good pod.
April 72nd.
Do you want to
The
plug
year
yourselves
is
here, lads? Do you want to
1750.
say
Plug myself.
you want a little shout out to
/Harry with 6 R's.
Remember that one.
Just
Rolls off the tongue very easily.
Press
No,
R and then
doesn't
just,
actually-
just keep adding it until
It doesn't actually have
works.
6 R's. That's his name. Is Harry with 6 R's, spelled exactly that way,
True.
Twitch.tv/chillobster.
with the TE. Everyone here just decided to make the weirdest Twitch username, and then there's JL Cricks over here.
They are unique.
Josh, you better shout yourself out, not someone else.
And here's Josh with the
Roast of
group
it.
shout.
All right, that's all we have time for. Goodbye.
Bye.
Ooh.
That's a
There you go.
solid ending, brother.